Hello everyone and welcome to another real estate video. This is Javier Vidana, the real estate YouTube guy in Phoenix, Arizona, helping you accomplish your home goals. One of the biggest trends I start noticing when I feel like market shifts or something funky going on isn't the market trends or the economy trends or anything weird like that. It's when I start noticing a change in advertising of the latest things realtors or lenders are doing to convince you to buy a home sooner than you feel comfortable then. And one of the things I'm starting to notice a lot is interest rates are low. Buy now. If you're thinking about buying, call us today. I've even seen videos about people talking about how because of the coronavirus, you can now enjoy the benefits of home ownership and stuff like that. I personally believe if my family was going through something as serious as that, I would not be okay with people making videos about that. So I want to really address the situation. I want to talk about these low interest rates. Right now, they're incredibly low. That's the lowest it's ever been in a long time. Is it the right time to buy? Should you force yourself to buy sooner than you were comfortable with? Should you refinance now? And just in general, like what do you do? Now, before we get Lizzie on the phone, I want to talk about the facts. Facts are that their interest rates are as low as they've been in a very long time. And the other fact of the matter is mortgage applications are going to skyrocket. Now, when there's more people applying for loans, that means there's going to be more buyers in the market. Right now in Phoenix, we're already feeling that at a high level. So if your town and city has not felt that, you're going to start feeling it soon. With all these buyers hitting the market, it's going to turn into a mega seller's market. There's not going to be enough inventory to keep up. So you're going to start seeing a huge increase of new builds if you haven't already. And of course, any house that gets on the market, there's going to be such a shortage, it's going to get eaten up right alive and it's going to be selling for a lot more. An average house goes about 3 to 5% up in value on an average market. I think in this year and possibly next year, it's going to go up a little bit. I think it might be closer to 5 or 10% because of the huge demand being caused. Now, if you weren't planning on buying into a few years, then don't stress out about it. It's never a good idea to force things just because the market is telling you to. However, that being said, I would start just making better decisions in the next year or two. You know, if you were thinking about buying a house in 4 or 5 years, maybe start working on your credit now. So that way you start, maybe in a year or two, you'll have some options. Or if you've been trying to get your income up or pay your debts down, I would try to maybe increase those efforts a little bit. So if there is still a gap of you trying to take advantage of this interest rate, then for sure do it. So what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to call my good friend Lizzie. Those who are a fan of the channel know who she is. #1 female loan officer of the country. She's in the matrix, in the economy trends, marketing trends. I want her to explain what's causing this crazy interest rate change. And honestly, she's seen recessions before, if it's worth pushing things faster than it need to. So let me get her now on the FaceTime and we'll be adding her. Hello, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, so Lizzie, we have you now, and I think people are going to be able to see you on the top right of the screen. So what is going on? What is causing these rates to go low all of a sudden? People think it's coronavirus. People think it's Trump.
Yes, and I'm going to do my best job to explain this as simply as I can. But essentially, hold on one second.
Get out of the shot, Sam.
I know. So I'm going to do my best job to explain this as informally as possible so that everyone can follow along.
Okay.
But essentially, we're not like a U.S. economy anymore. We are a global economy, and what has a direct impact on what happens here. Mm-hmm. And so what we're seeing is China and Europe make about 39% of all of the gross domestic product purchases for our economy here. And right now, China's not buying anything. People have been quarantined in their homes for the last 13 weeks. They're not spending, they're not traveling. Unfortunately, people aren't even able to port from cruises. And so what we're seeing is that these economies that have been stimulated a ton by, consumer spending, travel, the middle class, they're just at a complete dead halt. And so now, in addition to what's happening in China, right, Europe is actually fighting what's called deflation. So their economies have just never recovered from the Great Recession. So I don't know if you guys remember a couple of years ago, they had all of this banking crisis. Greece, they had to bail out. Then it was Italy, then it was France, then it was Germany. And the strongest economies were actually Germany and France. Mm-hmm. And well, aside from the UK. And so it was just this big issue, and they've never, ever recovered from that. So their economies have just been stagnant for years, and they've tried everything from negative interest rates to all kinds of stimulus, And so when you have China's economy busting, you have Europe economies busting, there's investors throughout the globe that have to figure out where to put their funds. And so even though the US economy is also being impacted by this, we're seeing foreign investors purchasing bonds, right, which are bringing interest rates to historic lows. People aren't leaving their houses because of quarantines. People are dying. There have already been 6 reported deaths in Washington alone in the United States. So as of today,
March 2nd or March 3rd, right? What's your honest take on this? Should people hurry up and buy and take advantage of this, or refinance now, or what's your thoughts?
So I think this is an excellent time to refinance because interest rates, like my rule of thumb, and I actually recorded a video on this, which will go out next week, is if you can save $200 or 1% and you plan on living in your home for an extended period of time, so more than 5 years, it makes sense to refinance right now. So I'll go into that in more detail on my channel, but if you're purchasing, here's the rule of thumb on purchasing. It has to make sense with your personal monthly budget. So there's, never a perfect time to purchase. 2 years ago, values were lower, but interest rates were 5%. Believe it or not, like the monthly payment on that house was higher than it would be today with 10 to 20% higher purchase price, right? Wow. And that's because interest rates have a bigger impact than the price of the home. Mm-hmm. And sometimes people forget that. So, there are definitely fears with the market being a little bit inflated right now, and I could definitely see that. But if you're buying for the long haul, you have to remember that even in the worst economy back in 2006, if you were to be here today, that would be 14 years into a 30-year mortgage. You would definitely have equity. You would definitely be cash flowing. So you just have to remember that real estate is a long-term investment, and you buy when your budget says you're ready.
So important part is look for them to not focus on the market first, focus on their budget first, and if it makes sense, do it regardless of what marketing and the advertising and the freaking news is telling us.
Absolutely. You have to live somewhere, and the thing is that rents right now are literally just as expensive or more expensive than the cost of a mortgage. So is it ideal to buy when prices are inflated? No, but we're not psychics and we can't time the market, and we have no idea how much further they're going to increase.
You have to live somewhere. Right? Would you rather pay $1,500 for rent, $1,500 for a house, right?
Exactly, and there's so many benefits with homeownership.
Awesome. Well, Lizzie, I know you're going to make a much more detailed video on this, so please go to her channel. By the time this video is up, it'll probably be up, so we'll link your channel or your video to this. Thank you so much.
No, you got it. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it. Bye, guys.
All right, guys. So I appreciate Lizzie stopping by. I know it was a little weird with the FaceTime thing, but this is kind of what I tell people regardless. People always ask me, should I go down payment assistance? Should I do this or that or the other? It's all about your budget. If you're going to go buy a decent place in a decent area, your payment, let's say it's going to be $1,400, you're going to have to pay $1,400 unless you're going to change your lifestyle, right? So if you can't afford a $1,400 payment, regardless of what program or what's going on with the market, then the conversation stops there. If you already are renting for $1,400 and you're able to afford a house or a down payment for it, then start considering, hey, maybe I need to do something sooner. So guys, in conclusion, I know there's people out there that care about what I have to say and listen to my advice. If the budget's right, if your finances are right, if your credit's right, then consider it. And you do get the bonus of having a lower interest. But if these things aren't right in your life, then there's careful. Don't go call your brothers and sisters and friends, hey, co-sign with me, let's just get this done. The market's low, and then you're gonna run into some issues down the road. But guys, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Lizzie for being here, be part of the channel for today. She does great videos. She needs definitely more views than she has, so if you guys want to go check out her channel, she's really amazing, and she gives really good insight to any, not just mortgages, just any budgeting or finances in general. If you are in the Phoenix, Arizona area and you'd like to buy or sell a home, I am your guy. My contact information is below. Reach out to me if you have any questions via email or DM. I definitely have them open for you guys, so let me know if you have any other questions, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Have a lovely day.